A high stakes budget process is now underway as Governor Phil Murphy and lawmakers race against the clock to finalize a record breaking $58.1 billion budget before the July 1st deadline to avoid a government shutdown. The proposal includes $1.2 billion in new taxes and fees alongside $4.3 billion in property tax relief, but not without controversy over lots of new taxes on cigarettes, luxury homes, and online gaming. Some proposed taxes, like those on recreational activities, did not make the cut. Joining us to break it all down is David Wildstein, editor of the New Jersey Globe. Good morning to you, David. Nice to have you in the flesh, so to say. Nice to have you on live this morning.
Thanks, Ken. And I think it's so appropriate that Mike ended his segment as you're leading into a budget talking about people being able to go out on the beach, because we know how beaches and governorships and budget negotiations are all intertwined.
I think back to a certain Chris Christie being on the beach when the beaches were closed during the pandemic. I don't know. That's the flashback I'm having, and I can't unthink it now. Let's start with the big picture, David. The governor's proposed $58.1 billion budget is the largest in New Jersey's history, $1.2 billion in new taxes and fees. Walk us through the key steps in the budget process right now and how close lawmakers are to finalizing the deal before the June 30th deadline. It's next week.
Yeah, I think they're pretty close. You know, the original belief, if you had asked me a couple of days ago, it would have been that the budget committee was going to come in today, and then they would go vote on this on Friday and be done. The bottom line is they can't actually prepare this budget once they have agreements. We don't know exactly what the agreements are, other than the governor was insistent on keeping a $6 billion surplus. The speaker was insistent on keeping stay ONNJ for senior citizen property tax relief. So, you know, they always come in, the governor's number is just a starting point. And then they add what the legislature wants, those Christmas tree items that'll get added. We won't see these maybe till after the budget is passed. What I heard just before I came on the air is maybe they'll come in on Friday to do the committee, give everybody the weekend to review it, come back on Monday morning. And, one of these reasons it's don't have everybody walking away saying this is great. They're going to give the public ultimate transparency time. Several legislators have weekend plans that involve airplane travel. Good luck, right? The whole state budget depends on whether Newark Airport might be open or not. But I think you're probably looking at a Monday vote. That could change 50 times before I finish my sentence.
Yeah, and we'll drag you back on the air by then to talk more about it, of course. David, look, the budget includes significant tax increases. Look, the expenses are what they are. And by the way, I'm going to pause for a second. One of the reasons is because the cost of Medicaid in New Jersey is billions. People don't realize what a chunk of the budget that takes. And if I will, and I know you stay away from political leanings left and right, I sure as hell don't. That's why I'm a blowhard. But one of the things people don't talk about is we have hundreds of thousands of illegal migrants in this state who are entitled to receive Medicaid. That is a problem because that costs us billions of dollars, something that I notice nobody in Trenton is talking about because we're a sanctuary state. You don't have to go into it, but I just want to put that out there. And in the meantime, the budget includes significant tax increases. We have $3 a pack state tax on cigarettes, 20% tax on online gaming, and the so-called mansion tax for homes over $1 million, which 10 years ago, 5 years ago, that was very few. Today, you go to West Caldwell, very pedestrian town, every house is over $1 million. So it looks like everyone's going to be paying $10,000 on their house sale. So what is driving the specific tax hikes and how are they being received by the lawmakers and the general public?
As budgets go, and I've been through a lot of these, this has been a tame, docile budget season. There's not a lot of histrionics going on. There's really nobody talking about a budget shutdown, a government shutdown. And by the way, the legislators have several years ago gotten rid of the things that would cause the public to be angry if the government shut down. Government shut down, casinos are still open. Government shut down, parks and beaches are still open. There's not a lot that would really hurt people over a short-term period if the government were to shut down. But it's an election year. Nobody really wants to see that happen. This one has probably been one of the easiest in Governor Murphy's last year. His last is the easiest, I think.
And considering the fact that he was a CEO of a Wall Street firm, you think that this would have never happened in terms of budget gaps. But alas, New Jersey facing a budget deficit, of course, estimates ranging from
Mhm.
1.2 to 3.7 billion. So how does the current budget proposal address the gap? How are we supposed to close it? Because unlike the federal government, they could just push it down the line. You can't do that in the state.
No, no, but I'm told by the people smarter than me in the room that they've got this within a tolerance where they will be able to keep the structural spending gap under some control. This is not a draconian budget until federal funds that they have anticipated as revenue stop coming in, and then all of a sudden it's going to be the sky's falling in.
And listen, I know David Wildstein. You are the smartest person in the room, so you could feign
I
decorum.
don't
That
know.
no, no, but come on, stop it.
Yeah,
I know you are the smartest guy in the room. My declaration. Some of the proposed taxes, like those on recreational activities, bowling, laser tag, that didn't make it into the final deal. Was that just those fun taxes, just because they didn't want to piss off the everyday folks in New Jersey?
they could be, and not that Christopher would have ever done anything like this, but sometimes you throw things into the budget so that you'll look good taking them out after there's a little bit of a public outcry. But
Uh,
guys like me that have old enough to remember thousands of protesters at the State House 1991 throwing toilet paper at the State House because Governor Florio wanted to tax toilet paper. Those are the things that you lose elections on. Bowling alleys, batting cages. Those are the things that piss people off in certain areas. But there's nothing here that's really going to swing an election one way or the other. And if there was, you'd see Chitterelli and Sherrill playing a little bit more aggressively as lobbyists on their sides.
All right. New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein. I could talk to you for hours about this. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on this morning,
Thank
my
you. And
friend.
I'll,
We'll
and I'll
come
just
back.
say
We'll
quickly, if
find
it's
out what
okay, you
happens. Yeah.
you have ruined Andrew Cuomo for me. I can no longer hear Cuomo's voice without hearing Ken Rosado doing Cuomo's voice. So you have
The
changed it completely.
ventilators. The ventilators. My husband showed me the picture, one of the pictures that I have having dinner with Cuomo some years ago, and he sent me that this morning after Cuomo said that he basically said, "Well, you got it," to Mamdani. So we'll see. That's another topic. We'll have you on to talk about that at some point. David, thank you, my friend. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.